All right, going live in 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is Olivia on Air. We're up to episode 28. How are you doing, Olivia, this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay. I know we usually one of the things we usually talk about when we go live is the weather, and I have to say that Christmas Day got to 71 degrees again. So,
Oh,
and I'm looking at the forecast right now. Looks like for New Year's Day they're calling for 65 degrees. So we're still up there with that temperature, which is really surprising.
that is odd.
And I will say though, it's not been staying up in the 70s. Like the following day, it was down to 65, and then it dropped down to like the mid 40s after that. So it's like it's going up and down, but it's not getting to the point where we're getting like any snow or anything. It's like we're not going to see any snow, that's for sure, anytime soon. So it looks like for the next few weeks it's going to remain sunny and a little bit of rain, but mostly in that range where we won't be seeing any major snow. So.
Interesting. It's actually a little colder down here, I guess. Not like in the daytime, but I feel like I guess there was a cold front. And the past couple of days have gotten warmer, but it was coldish for Florida. It was cold for a while.
Not are you getting below like the 50s? What are you getting down to in your range?
It was in the 50s in the cold front. So that was I mean, we were seeing a lot of people with big jackets and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it's always fun to see Floridians in like coldish weather.
That's funny. Big jackets, really? Over there's
Yeah.
50, there's 50. Does that constitute wearing a big jacket? That's interesting.
It was funny. There were a lot of puffer jackets out.
Oh.
I I think you can pass in a sweatshirt or a sweater, but puffer jacket.
Yeah, I've been wearing maybe like a windbreaker at the most. So even when it gets down to like in the I don't like in the overnight, sometimes it has dropped down to the 20s, but I still haven't worn anything that severe yet. So I don't even have. I do have a. It's not really a winter coat. It's more of like a longer coat that's kind of made for colder weather. I haven't even put that one on yet. So well, let's see. Before we go any further, of course we got to talk about NordVPN. Just reminding everybody that if you want to get a good discount, you can go to their link that we provide in the description below, and they will they are what if anything that if you purchase anything from them through that link, that helps us run the show. And I've endorsed NordVPN. I've used them, and they are pretty reliable. They're pretty good. I've never had any problems during the times I've used them. And the discount that they have on there is I believe it was I don't I want to quote it because if they changed it for any reason, but it was actually a pretty good deal. It was if you pay the monthly rate, I think it was close to like a third of what the monthly rate would normally be. So it's a pretty good deal if you go there. And as usual, as I saying this again, if you do get the service through them, that helps us pay for our services here. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And don't forget about the whole like Netflix thing. You can go on streaming services and get access to different movies.
Yeah, it does that. I assume that works for everything. There's also what else is there out there? Like Apple has a TV service now, right? And I don't know if it works on those. I assume it does, but I don't know. And then I forget all the ones that are out there. So
I think it also works on YouTube where if there's like a video or a music video that's restricted in your country, if you use NordVPN, you can go and see the music video like by going under a different country.
hmm. I'd like to know. Yeah, I'd like someone to test that on and verify that because I'd like to know because I've had a lot of my videos blocked in Germany with the music that was playing in the background on the video game stuff that I uploaded in the past. And for some reason I don't know what it is about Germany, but that was the one that got blocked the most. I'd like someone to log in there and just test it out and tell us what you see if it does work for that with the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know that my friends have done that kind of thing before. Um, And I know that there have been a few music videos that I like watching or listening to, and then they're just like blocked in America for some reason. So,
Oh, really? Oh, it's
yeah.
interesting. Oh, it's weird. Why would they block them here? I don't. This is it's kind of strange. I know that sometimes will block things like if it's a specific for a country, like maybe a movie or something, because it's in a different language or something. I do remember when was that movie that came out? Independence Day, the sequel to Independence Day a few years back, and there was a specific trailer that was made for Japan, but someone snuck it onto the YouTube American site so people could see it because they blocked it for Americans to see for some reason, I think. So, but that was for a movie, but I find it interesting they would block music. It's interesting, especially in the United States. So,
Yeah, it does sound a bit odd, but I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know, because it was like older videos from like music videos from like the 80s and the 70s. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Oh, interesting. Older music too. That's quite interesting. Was it an American song? Was it a foreign song? Oh, you said that right. I probably missed it.
I think it was, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was just a regular American song because I don't really know a lot of foreign music.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at our question for from last week. Let's see. I'm going to bring it up here. It looks like we got a pretty decent response. How often do you buy new shoes? Let me bring it up here. Trying to find my mouse. There we go. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like 2,200 votes so far. Overwhelmingly 74% only if I need a new pair. So that would
Interesting.
I fall into that category too. I think I might have said that already. So 11%.
So nobody buys them as often as I do.
And how often was that?
It was, I mean, I kind of only buy them like sneaker wise, like utility shoe wise, if I need a new pair. But if I see a pair that I really love, then I will probably buy that too. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's and how often is that though?
Probably once every 4 to 6 months.
Oh, okay. And how many? I think you told me you had like a dozen shoes. Am I remembering that correctly? Pairs of shoes, is that right? Or did you have more or less? I can't remember.
Maybe about a dozen.
Okay.
Counting utility shoes.
Right. And how often now, as far as the shoes, if you ever bought a pair of shoes that you really liked and then realized I don't really like them, so they just sit there and just kind of collect dust?
No. In high school, I feel like a lot of people go through that problem of like really wanting something and having poor impulse control and then buying it, especially when you have your first job. I feel like that is pretty common. Like you buy a nice, I don't know, like a nice shirt or something and you think you're really going to wear it and then it just sits in your closet. But I've started doing this thing because I felt really guilty because I know how much like work goes into making clothing. And so I started doing this thing where I only buy a piece of clothing if I still have it on my mind after like 3 weeks of like not buying it, you know? I let it sit in the basket of my mind, in the shopping cart of my mind.
And then how many times have you done that and you've actually just said, nah, I'm not going to buy it? A lot?
A lot. It's almost every time. Almost every time I like go to buy something that I think I want, I stop myself and then I do the 3 weeks thing and then I forget that it exists. So I don't even end up getting it.
I guess in that case, it'd be a good thing then. So you're saving money and you're saving the time from, not buying something that letting someone else get it, I guess that would put it to better use, I guess. I don't know. Is that a good thing? So, all right. Well, let's get back to the poll here. Got 11% listed every time I see a pair I like. So that wouldn't be you there. It's because you're not impulsive. So that would be. Wait, are you even in this category at all? Would you?
I don't think so. These are more general categories. I think I would be in other. Comment below.
Okay. We got 8% with yearly, 5% with about once every couple of months, and 2% with other. So 16 comments. Let me scroll down here. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Not sure what that says, but he says GTA. So the rest of I'm not sure what he's saying there. Every 5 years. 5 years.
Interesting. 5 years.
Oh,
That's
maybe
kind of impressive to me that like a pair of shoes can last 5 years.
I don't think I have any shoes that could last that long unless they're just unless like they're dress shoes or something that I don't wear very often. But yeah, I can't imagine that either. Unless they're just like the kind of person like they walk in their house and they immediately take their shoes off all the time, or maybe the kind of person that they take their shoes off wherever they feel like it. I guess I don't know.
Maybe they have like a hoverboard or something where they don't even have to touch the ground that often.
Hmm. Yes. Buy used. That's kind of risky. Buying used shoes. Would you ever buy used shoes?
Only if they were designer and they were like really new and they were at Goodwill
I was going to
and
say
I
this.
could clean them. Yeah.
The only place I've ever seen them is at Goodwill. I've never bought them myself, but I have seen used shoes there. So, um, yeah, I don't think I would buy used shoes. So, only buy new ones when I really need new ones. Let's see, I have only 3 shoes: uh, Blue Air Max 90, Fila Euro Jogger Sport, and a white leather Converse All Star. Okay. Let's see. They sound like they're all jogger or sporty shoes of kind. So I'm not familiar. I don't know. I recognize some of the names here. I just don't know what they would look like right off the top. So, but only until mine are literally falling apart. I think I think we might cover these already. So we don't want to cover these again. So looks like everything else. Did we? Let's see. No, wait a minute. Let's see. No, maybe we didn't. When I have money. So does that mean when you don't have money, you don't buy shoes? Kids Best Fan says pretty much when I see a huge discount.
That's true.
I don't do that. That doesn't affect me. I just buy the shoes when I need them, so it wouldn't be a discount for me. So that wouldn't fall into that category.
I
So
feel like I need to get better at like not getting pressured by the discount because I feel like the discount it's like a siren's call to me. It's it's like I see the discount and I think, "Oh my gosh, what if they never have a discount with this shoe ever again?" And I love the look of this shoe, and if I just buy it now, then I'll, be able to have it and it'll be a discount, it'll be a deal and I'll have saved money even though that's not true.
and how much would you have you ever been in an actual experience? Have you been in a situation like that?
Yeah. Whenever I go shopping and I see a big discount, I'm getting better at like reining myself in, I think. As I get older, I think I'm getting a bit better at it.
So does that go for other things other than shoes, or is it strictly for shoes?
It could be for anything, I guess.
Let's see. Let's see. Next down, Daniel says, I haven't bought anything all year, but I did go through a phase where I bought all my, what's that say? Oh, dream shoes once I got the money. So like 15 shoes in 1 year, I think. Wow. That's more than
15.
that's more than a pair a month. It's only 12 months a year. It's like on average, what is that? Like every 3 weeks or so, maybe a little bit more than 3 weeks. So
That's almost impressive.
yeah, it's a lot. Anonymous Code 16 says, I don't use shoes. The next one down says he doesn't use kicks. Got a lot of barefoot people here. Renegade MS says, I'm not a shoe enthusiast. I deal with efficiency of products, not aesthetics. So it says.
Yeah.
Aesthetics, thank you. So, and a couple of replies here. What does that say?
Based.
Based, okay.
I think that's a video game term.
Oh, okay. All right. It says every so often, I just do not have the same pair. Get beat up so fast. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I'm kind of stumbling on that one. I don't really wear shoes. Oh, I think I do remember this one for sure. So that one is, a guy named Jacob. I remember that one. So interesting. I don't know if it's a lot of barefoot people or people just walk around in socks all day, but a couple of people here just don't like to wear shoes. So, there is the old barefoot movement. Have you ever seen that?
I think so. I mean, my dad doesn't really wear shoes that like if we're going out to do something outdoorsy, he will literally just bring his shoes in the car. He's the kind of person that just doesn't really like wearing shoes.
Really? But
Yeah.
so he drives without shoes?
Yep. I
Wow.
think it's strange, but he pays my bills and stuff, living under his roof, so I guess I'm not going to judge.
That's interesting. I didn't know people did that. That's well, you're in Florida though, so that's I guess it'd be a little different if you're like in a colder area. It'd be harder to do that, I guess. So
That's true. I mean, I wouldn't do it just because I hate like crumbs and stuff. The feeling of crumbs under your feet is gross to me.
uh-huh.
Icky. Plus, there could be rusty nails around. You never know when you're going to step on a rusty nail.
Oh, I stepped on a nail and I was wearing a shoe and it went right through my shoe and into my foot. That was a couple of years ago. So
Ew, ow.
painful.
That
It's
sounds
very painful.
bad.
Yeah, no, I couldn't walk right for at least 3 or 4 days until it finally started to heal. So, but yeah, that was pretty painful. So, if you're wearing, depending on what kind of shoe you're wearing, I was wearing like a pair of like I showed you the Rockport shoes I use. They have kind of rubbery soles, so it just went straight through that. So didn't even stop it.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, well, the problem was the person who I've had my house for like I bought it back in 2004, but I never. It's like it's a rural area, so the people that had it before me had all these pieces of 2x4s with nails sticking out of them, and I in the back in the corner of the property, and I just they never cleaned it out. I didn't really worry about it until I needed to go back there one day, and that's when I stepped on it. So
Yeesh. Ow. Did you get tetanus?
no, I didn't worry about it. I just cleaned it off, washed it off, and made sure I put some what do you call Neosporin, just to, but nothing happened. I was fine. Nothing happened to me. So I
I
wasn't
would have gone to the hospital.
really. Oh, okay.
But I go to the emergency room for a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. I was just kind of like, I figured if it got worse, I would have done something, but it just slowly got better. It was very painful, like I said, for the first few days. It just felt like it just injured the foot, and then it's just like I just basically just slowly got better until the point where I just didn't even feel it anymore. So
That's good.
my dad it happened to him about a few years ago too. I forget why it happened to him, but he was telling me about it, and then I called him up and said, "Hey, guess what? It happened to me now too." So we're in the same boat. Alrighty. So let's see. Let's see. We have your question for this week. Would you like to read that while I go ahead and bring it up?
Yes, my question was, what do you do if something of yours breaks? And the answers would be throw it away, try to fix it. If I can't, then I'll throw it out. Try to fix it. If I can't, I'll keep it, donate it, or other. Comment below.
Huh.
I was just thinking about this because I feel like with after the holidays, and I celebrate Christmas, people get things that they don't like or that they try and then it doesn't work because maybe it was just like a gag gift, and instead of trying to fix it or I don't know, use it for the parts of it that it has to fix something else maybe, they just throw it away, which it's not the best for the environment.
I had
So that's just something I was thinking about.
I have a lawyer that I deal with trademark issues with, and he sent me a pair of really weird socks. I didn't really wear them. In fact, I did not wear them. So, but they every time I saw them, I thought of him. At first I thought I didn't know what they were exactly. And I was like, it's like, in fact, it was, I think it was more of a gag gift than anything else. So, because the letter came with, oh goodness, someone sent me another pair of socks again. And that's what it was actually written in with the card that came with it. So it was like a generic card that he didn't write it himself. It was like the socks were like, he ordered the socks and just sent them to me. And that's what the little label said, or the little card that came with it said. So I assumed he sent it to probably all of his clients that year. So
That's fun.
yeah, but yeah, I wasn't sure. I don't even remember what they look like. It's something that I just wouldn't wear. I usually wear just plain socks. These had kind of funky designs on them. And it wasn't my style, but I didn't just throw them out. So I did keep them, but I just didn't wear them. So
Right. Yeah, whenever I get something, well, my dad, he's an engineer and he always builds stuff, and he I don't know, that's like his thing. And he has tried to teach me how to fix things around the house. Like I think the thing we fixed most recently was the dryer or something. It like going it wasn't getting hot, so we fixed it. Which I actually recommend everyone try to figure out how to fix their appliances before calling someone, because usually people who like fix appliances for a living will way overcharge you because they know that you're not going to try and fix it yourself, you know? Um, so there's that. And so basically, I kind of always thought that if you have something and it breaks, you first try to fix it. And then if you can't fix it, you can just keep it, and maybe you'll need a part that's in it for later when you have to fix something else.
Yeah, that's what I do. I often I have a fax machine. Well, it's a fax scanner, um, and a printer. And when I bought the first one went bad, I just bought another one that was identical to that one. And I remember my bookkeeper asking. She said, "What did you do with the old one?" And I said, "Well, I'm just going to keep it for parts in case the other one breaks." So,
That makes sense.
but then the second one broke because there was a power surge, and so the parts from the first one were kind of irrelevant. So the because it was too hard to pull, I couldn't actually find the part that blew out in the first one and the second one. So I ended up buying a third one that was identical, and then that one recently went bad. So
Maybe bigger appliances, like that's an exception. I wouldn't expect someone to keep a fridge or like a giant printer, but
so the but yeah, the that is a good idea if you're handy, of course. So if you're not handy, then it probably would be kind of irrelevant, I guess. So
that's true.
what
There's
was the
always Goodwill or like convenience stores. What are they called? They're not convenience stores. They're consignment shops, that kind of thing.
hmm. So what was the problem with your dryer? Did you?
I don't remember what it was called, but it just there was some. I think it was some sort of fuse or something. It was like we had to sand down this part. We had to like take apart something in the back of the dryer. I don't know the names for these things. But we had to take apart something in the back of the dryer, and it was basically kind of like um, it was supposed to be able to transmit electrical current, I think.
Okay.
And it couldn't because it was, I don't know, gross, I guess. And so we had to sand it down, and then we put it back in, and it worked a little bit, long enough until we could get like a brand new piece,
Oh, okay.
if that makes sense. I don't think I explained it very well. I used to have pictures on my phone, but not anymore.
Oh. And this and your dad, you said, is an engineer, so he's like, and so is
Yeah.
that how he's able to diagnose it pretty quickly, or?
Yeah, mostly it's he's always been like the fix it person, so
Oh, that's pretty good. All right. Well, before I post this, does it look pretty good? Everything look
yes.
good? Okay, here we go. I'll go ahead and post that. So I suggested that we do another question as well simultaneously. So I suggested, what is your, based on the movie we're going to talk about tonight? I said, why don't we ask what is your favorite musical? Let's see.
What's yours favorite musical?
Mine would be the Blues Brothers from 2000.
I have
That's
seen that. I haven't seen it in a while though.
That would be definitely my favorite. And I have three others I could say off the top: the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and from 1975, and then Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John that also came out in 1980, same year as the Blues Brothers. So
I'm not as versed in musicals myself. Um Sometimes they just irk me. I don't know why. I'm not like totally a musical person. Um but I do like High School Musical, which is a Disney series, movie series, that I watched growing up. I think a lot of people around my age like High School Musical. Um, uh, I I like The Sound of Music. That's probably my favorite one. Is it a musical?
yep. Oh yeah, definitely. definitely. So, yeah, anytime they stop and go into a song and dance routine, when it's not part of like in the movie, there's a part where they actually sing on stage, which we might say, well, that's not a musical at that point. But there's several segments of the movie where they just start going into dance, or singing and dancing, which have nothing to do with being performing for an audience in the movie itself. So yeah, definitely a musical. So
Okay.
what would you like? What would you want to put those two? Like I'll put mine and you put yours. So we'll put the Sound of Music.
Yes.
Uh,
And then all your favorite ones.
Oh well, okay. Well, we could also. I'm not sure. Let's see, I'm not sure if all mine would be. Well, we could do that, I guess. Yeah. Let's see, I'll put the Blues Brothers for sure, and I'll put the years that they were made too. In 1965. I said 2000 earlier. I don't know why I said that. It's actually 1980. So there you go. I did find out. Now, have you ever heard of Xanadu?
No.
With Olivia Newton. You know who Olivia Newton-John is, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay, she's it was a musical that came out, and I liked it because I liked her. So, otherwise, the movie itself is very interesting. So I found out later that a lot of homosexual men tend to like the movie for some reason. It turned I liked it from when I was a kid, and definitely not for that reason. But if you watch the movie, you can see there's a lot of what could be considered to be a lot of homosexual dancers in there. I guess I never really realized that before because I wasn't looking at them. I was just looking at her. So, and ever since I was a kid, I always thought she was kind of cute. So, that's the only reason I like the movie is because I liked her. So, then the movie is focusing on her, and and Gene Kelly's in there too. Do you know who Gene Kelly is?
I think so.
Very very well known dancer. He was a dancer from like the 1950s. He made a lot of movies where he was dancing a lot. So they had a chance to dance together in the movie, which is kind of cool. So let's see. Do you want to
What was the plot of the movie?
The plot is that Olivia Newton-John plays a muse, and a muse is a daughter of a Greek god, and she comes down to grant the wish to the main character of the movie. I guess you could say she's kind of the main character of the movie because that's all focused on her. But there's actually another guy who's actually the main character of the movie, and he gets kissed by her at the very beginning of the movie for no apparent reason. He's just walking around, and she comes up and kisses him, and the expression "gets kissed by a muse" is what happens. And so he wants to build a dance club, and he meets Gene Kelly, and then he falls in love with her because she's a daughter of a Greek god. She has to she says she's only there to grant his wish and nothing more. So at the very end, she requests to stay permanently on Earth, and so she kind of does. It's at the very end. There's one final dance. It's basically a musical. They dance and sing a lot. But the very last scene of the movie, she disappears, but another person appears that's obviously her, and it's implied that she came back as that person to be with the love interest that they in the movie. I don't know who the guy is who's the love interest. It's not Gene Kelly though. So.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, and it's not like I said, it's not officially established if it's her. And the whole movie as there's a lot of the songs that are in there are a lot of her popular songs from the 70s and 80s. So there's a lot of really ELO, Electric Light can't say it now. Electric Light Orchestra. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Yeah, some of their songs are in there too. So, and
I do love them.
And so it's I would recommend it if you like movies from the 70s and 80s. You would probably like this one. So, like I said, it's the dancers are definitely, if you see what I'm talking about, I'm not saying anything bad about homosexual people at all. I'm just saying that you'll notice it's clearly, and like I said, I never caught on to that because I wasn't looking at that part, but you can definitely see that there's a lot of gender neutral kind of dancing going on in the background throughout the whole movie. So
right.
So but yeah, I would if you're into that kind of music, and it definitely has a very 70s style to it, which is kind of in some ways kind of almost repulsive looking sometimes, because some of the 70s stuff got really weird towards the end, and then the 80s kicked in and like everything got kind of conservative looking. So it was like the tail end of the 70s, and it was like where this weird kind of style was kind of prevalent, and it only lasted for a couple of years, and it just disappeared really quickly. So that kind of weird look, if you're into that, it looks really dated looking if you watch the movie. You'll see what I'm talking about if you take a look, if you watch it. So
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Let's see. Yeah, I can't think of any other movies. There's got to be something out there that would be more well.
Is there a Muppets musical? Because that I feel like I vaguely remember like watching something like that when I was a kid, and I really did not enjoy it. But I think it was popular. It's the Muppets.
Is that
That's
what
a
it's called?
musical.
That's what it's called. It's the Muppets.
Oh, the Muppets.
It's actually called the Muppets, the movie.
Yeah, the Muppets. It's 2011.
Oh, okay. You know what? The very first Muppets movie was also a musical. I remember that now.
That might have been what I was thinking of.
I think there was the Muppet Show that came out in the 1970s, which was made for adults and children. It was, and then the Muppet movie came out around 1980, and it was more geared towards kids. And I was kind of disappointed because I liked the more adult aspect of the TV show. And I remember they sang a lot of songs in that one. I forgot about that. That would be considered a musical for sure. So
maybe we could put the Muppets as like a whole subgenre of musical, because I feel like a lot of their stuff is musical
Muppets
stuff.
Okay. Would you say movies in general, maybe?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. One more. I'm trying to think. There's got to be another popular movie. What about one of the most popular movies out there? The one about the American Civil War. It was it's a very popular movie. And I can't think of it now. I can't even think of the actors that are in it. It came out in the 30s or 40s. What is it called?
I don't know.
The woman plays a Southern Belle. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember what it's called now. I can't remember. Oh well. Someone out there probably knows it, and it's probably I'm sure they could leave a comment, but I don't know.
I know that there's what is it called? Annie? Is that a musical?
Yeah, the movie, not the comic strip, of course. So that it's based on. Yeah, you want to put Annie in there?
I think so. Maybe that could work.
Hold on a second. You know what I'm going to do before I do this? I'm going to do a search real quick and see what it is. Okay, musical. All about the Civil War. Civil War. Okay, hold on. Oh, of course they're doing that. I hate that first listing there. Okay, hold on. Let me put it on top musicals. I think it's got to be on there. I need to know what this is. I know what it is, and you'll probably know it too. Okay, here we go. If it comes up here, Wizard of Oz, Mary Poppins, Singing in the Rain, all that jazz. On the Roof, West Side Story, Gypsy, Sound of Music. I forgot that. You have Annie. There's Annie. I don't know. Maybe it's not a musical. Oh well. Alrighty. Well, I don't want to take too much long on that. So let me get out of there. So, alrighty. I guess we put Annie, and then we'll put in your choice.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Okay, what is your favorite musical? I'm up. It's I don't remember what year. When did Annie come out? The early '80s. I'm not gonna worry about that one, I guess. So, alrighty, look good.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So the movie we're talking about is a musical, which is The Sound of Music. And I'll go ahead and bring up our movie thing so we can look at. Here we go. So this is a movie that we both talked about. You had you seen this before? I think you had, right?
Yes. I had seen it quite a few times. I think it's one of those movies that my parents and I liked watching every now and then.
The this is based on an actual live the actual is it Van Trapp or Von Trapp? How do you pronounce their last name? Van
I
Trapp?
pronounce it Von Trapp.
Von Trapp. The Von Trapp family. It's based on the actual Von Trapp family from Austria, um, which I don't know if you've done any actual because did this. I actually watched a few different videos on YouTube that discuss the actual historical events for the family, and there are some things in there that you might not like. The Maria, which is the main character, which is played by what's her? I'm sorry, I forgot her name all of a sudden.
Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews, yes, the real Maria in real life. She was 22 years old, and it is loosely based on her when she when she was in a covenant. She was a teacher, and she was going to teach for the Captain Von Trapp, and when they met, he was actually 47 years old, and they actually got married. And something I know that you probably don't like based on their age difference, which would put them 25 years apart.
It is weird, but I will say I read like Sense and Sensibility and like Pride and Prejudice and stuff like that, like books from older the Regency era basically, and even though it doesn't seem like it was that long ago because they could make a movie out of it or like it was like the 40s or something like that. It really was a long time ago, and I feel like it was more socially acceptable then to do
Okay.
that kind of stuff. And it like I don't know, it kind of makes more sense in a world where women couldn't really move up in the world like through jobs and stuff. So marriage was the main thing. Maybe love and, you know, the logistics of age and stuff like that didn't matter as much as money and stuff like that at that time.
I have heard stories about women that married men who fought the American Civil War, and they were collecting. They married them so young that their husbands had died off, but because they were married to them, they were still collecting benefits from the war all the way up into the 1960s because they were so much younger than their husbands who had died off from the war.
Wow.
So,
That's playing the long game, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So, the getting back to the actual movie, they're more closer in age in this one. The actors are. They're much closer in age. Probably only like maybe I would say more like 6 to 8 years in age difference. Not that far off. So, but it is like I said, loosely based on actual events. I will say that Maria in the movie is a very likable, very caring person, and the captain of Captain Von Trapp is a not as doesn't come across as very caring. He does care, but he's a more authoritative type person, I guess you could say, or what's the right word I'm looking for?
Hard-headed, sort of
Yeah,
strict.
yeah, very much follow the rules kind of a thing, very much. And in real life, the actual people were the exact opposite. Um, it was the captain who was actually very kind-hearted, very easy to get along with, and it was actually Maria who was actually extremely authoritarian toward everybody, toward her kids, toward everybody, and she was very so much so. Some of her children when they grew up were afraid of men, that they never got married, and they died lonely because they were so basically she terrified. She basically raised them with the idea that men were people to avoid, which is kind of sad, really, when you think about it. So, um, the but in the movie, it's like I said, it's almost like their emotional status of the two characters is switched around. So she's the one that's very comes across as very kind and very open and very caring, but in the other way, it's the captain is the other way around. So the one thing I will
Interesting.
the one thing I will say when I started watching the movie, I hadn't seen this since I was a kid. I was wondering how does a guy who's a captain in the Austrian Navy have so much money that he can have a huge mansion and not have to work and have 7 kids? And that was like I was like that does not make any sense at all. And it turns out in real life that is true. He was rich. He did not have to work, and he had 7 kids. I and they actually after they got married, they actually had 3 additional kids. But the reason he had so much money was because his first wife had inherited the money from her dad, who was a famous inventor. And when he died, he gave it to her. And then when she died, her money went to the captain. So he didn't do anything to get the money. So the money that they had for the mansion that they had was actually inherited twice over, so to speak. So he didn't do anything to get it. So in a sense, he didn't do any work to get that money. He was just living off the money from his ex-wife or his deceased wife. So
That makes more sense because I never really thought about it too hard, but because I don't really know much about, the Navy and the Army and the military in Austria in the 1940s. So I thought to myself, well, maybe that's just kind of maybe naval officers in that time in that place got paid a lot of money.
yeah, I can't imagine. I was thinking wouldn't. I was thinking that if they did, that would just make no sense because it would just be way too much for anybody in the military to make that much money. It just didn't seem to make any sense. So that was some of the, like I said, I watched a lot of videos about the history of the actual family, and it the idea that someone even who's a captain of whatever, if he was a captain of a ship, that's a pretty high rank. I still can't imagine that a person getting that much money to have a mansion that was that large with all that land and be able to not work afterwards. It just doesn't make any sense. So,
Right.
but but afterwards I realized that made more sense afterwards as to where the money came from. So, but as the story progresses, she becomes the she's how would you describe her when we first meet her?
Well, she's a troublemaker. There's a whole song about it that I really like, actually. Um, she's a troublemaker. She has a beautiful singing voice and should obviously be a performer. Um, but she is kind of not great at being. It's a nun, right? That's like
Yes.
yeah, at being a nun. By the way, I've never seen a nun in real life, and I'm starting to think that they're not real. Because, well, I should have seen one by now, especially if they travel in packs like that. Anyway, um, she's not very good at being a nun because she is not the best at following directions. Who can blame her? And she like sings songs that are not God songs or something like that. I don't really know much about nunneries. Um, and that's like illegal there or something. Um, and so then the boss lady, I don't remember what her name is. Let me see.
I'm bringing that up. I'm gonna bring the list up too. Also, I went to 4 years of Catholic school when I was a kid, and yeah, I definitely I can tell you nuns existed there for sure. So
The boss church lady was like, you got to go outside and we're going to send you on this, mission to be is it Baroness? No.
yeah, the Baroness was the woman that the
Mhm.
captain was originally going to get married to.
Right. What are they called? I always forget what they're called.
Uh,
The, hmm?
no, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, I missed something there.
The ladies who take care of the kids, not
Oh,
nannies.
yeah,
I forget what they're called all of a sudden.
yeah, yeah, I forget it. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, I guess. Oh well, yeah, but she was going to take.
Governess. There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
She goes to become a governess for the Von Trapp family. And when she first goes into the house, she messes around with things she's not supposed to be, and she goes into that ballroom and all that stuff. Um, Further showing that she doesn't always do exactly what she's told. And then when she meets the naval captain guy, um, he shows her how he like runs his house, and he uses the dog whistle on his kids and stuff like that. Um, so that's kind of like the first impression. She's kind of disorganized. She doesn't follow the rules the best, but she seems like she's a fun person to me. That's what my like. That's what I think it is.
And you talked about Julie Andrews having a good voice. She has a phenomenal voice, and I saw an interview before we did this where she had to have an operation within the past decade or so, and she cannot sing anymore. By the way, in case you're wondering, she lost.
Yeah, my dad told me about that pretty early on, and I always thought it was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
And she seems like a very nice person. I've never seen anything bad about her anywhere. So, but she said, well, I'm getting old, so it's like I wouldn't it doesn't really matter anyway. So kind of she didn't dwell on it. She wasn't she didn't like try to make people feel sad for her or anything. She just said it's a fact of life she has to deal with, kind of a thing. So
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to approach it. It's still sad though.
mhm.
She did get to, at least she got to sing a lot and like had it all on movies and stuff, kind of immortalizing it.
Mhm. And the before I go too far, the reason I have this scene up on the movie is because the original Maria Van Trapp makes a cameo appearance in the movie, and it's if you blink you'll miss it, but it's right here. I'm going to play it right here. I'm going to bring up my magnifier too because it is really hard to see her. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second here. So here's the movie. It's playing along, and right there she is. Now, wait a minute, hold on. Let me play a little bit more. Make sure that's right. Her. Hold on. Yeah, that's her right here. There's the three women. She's the one on the right.
Oh, that's exciting.
So as the movie progresses, she's in for maybe of all of like maybe 5 seconds because you see her there, and then eventually pans forward, you can see her moving onto the other side as well. So that's about as much as you get of her, of the original Maria Van Trapp. So they promised her that she could be in the movie and she could be an extra, but I think she thought she was going to have a more prominent view. You would be able to see her, but you can't see her at all. Basically, you really can't see her. So
That's kind of sad, but at least she's in there.
yeah. so, um, so this is her when she's leaving, going to the. This is when they shows up at the house. In the original house, this is not the original house, by the way, but the original house is looks similar on the inside. It has a lot of similarities to it. So here's the room. Now, what was the significance about that room? She wasn't allowed to go in there because that no one had been in there since the original wife had passed away. Is that right?
I think so, something like that. I remember like everything that reminded, one of the kids said that everything that reminded Baron von Trapp of his wife, his dead wife, he like, hid. He kind of shut it all down. So like singing and dancing and stuff like that is not allowed.
Mm, okay. And I don't know if you know, but the original Van Trapp family in real life was real. They were a really well-known group of singers, by the way. I don't know if you know that. And they toured across Europe, and then eventually came to the United States, and they toured across the United States as well. So
Cool. I
yeah,
think I heard that at one point.
and they broke up in the 1950s. So and they wanted to go their separate ways. So, but let's see. As far as we're going to move around here a little bit. So we get to meet the kids now. One of the things that the kids like to do is they like to play jokes in the movie, practical jokes, I guess you could say, because would they put a frog in her hat or something, right?
Yeah, I think in her pocket or something like that.
Oh, is that where it was? Okay, okay. And
There's a little frog.
and how many? What was it? What did What did you say she was called again? Not a nanny, but what was she called again?
A governess.
Governess. And they went through like multiple governesses beforehand.
Yeah, they practical joked all their other governesses into quitting.
Okay, okay. and that the frog was like a way to I like to see if she would she did react to it, but what happens after that? Nothing really exciting, is it?
Well, I think she reacts to it, but it's not in like a positive or negative way. It's more of like a neutral thing. And then at dinner, they put like a pine cone or something under her seat so she makes a big sound. And then instead of, scolding them, she thanks them for the gift of the frog that they gave her
That's right.
earlier. And then they start crying because she's so nice or something like that.
Yeah. Um, oh, and by the way, we forgot to mention the captain is played by Captain Von Trapp is played by Christopher Plummer. So I've seen him in a few other things, not very many things I can think of off the top of my head. I do know that he was in the final Star Trek movie that featured the original cast of the original crew from the Enterprise. He played a Klingon commander in that one, and he was actually very, very good in that. But he played a Klingon that was bald, completely bald, and looked completely and had a completely distinct look from any of the other Klingons that were ever on any other Star Trek ever. So he really stood out, not only with his performance but his appearance as well. So
Cool. And he was also the old man in the murder mystery that we watched.
oh, knives. Which one's that? Knives Out? Is that the one?
Yeah, Knives Out.
Okay, I forgot about that. Okay. He passed away within the past year as well. I didn't know if you know that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if anything else top of my. I'm looking at the list here. Okay. No, I don't see anything. But yeah, those are the those two movies. The only two things I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot that was in that. Thanks very much. But that was the old man that died, right, in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't a very prominent. He didn't have a very prominent role in that, did he? Wasn't that?
He was like the guy who had all the money in the house, and I think he was kind of what the murder. He didn't have like a prominent role, as in he wasn't in a lot of scenes,
Right.
but he was what the movie kind of revolved around, because he
Hmm.
was like the murder.
And also, looking at the list. Sorry, I didn't mean. Were you I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I was finished.
Okay. Here's the list I was looking at right here. He was also in a movie called 12 Monkeys, which is a movie I haven't seen in a long time with Bruce Willis. I forgot about that too. So, uh, anyway, bring this back over here. Alrighty. So the as the movie progresses, oh, by the way, the older daughter in this, the kids, the names of the kids are not the actual names of the kids in real life, and they swapped the gender of the oldest kid. So in real life, the oldest daughter was actually a boy, not a girl, and they I think they did that so they could have this love story between the two of them. So between the guy here and the and her. So
Right. Interesting.
some of the behind the scenes things, a lot of this stuff is still there. Like people go into Austria to see this because they're so fascinated with the movie. This dance scene with the gazebo in real life um, is too small for the dance move. So what they did was actually filmed a lot of these gazebo scenes in a Hollywood set. So the actual gazebo that's still there, if you walk into it, it's too. People will point out that it's way too small. It's because it's not the actual gazebo. They based this one on that one, and so for the shots of it further away, you're seeing the one that's still there in Austria, but the one that's here is actually a Hollywood set. So
That is so cool. And that makes a lot of sense.
mhm. All right. So as the movie progresses, anything you'd like to add as far as how it progresses here?
The kids start to respect her and like her more because they realize that she's not like the past governesses. She's not like strict and mean. She's more of like a positive reinforcement kind of governess. Um, and so they like her a lot more.
I will say I paused at this scene because there's a particular thing that I found kind of funny. Julie Andrews does not know how to play the guitar, and when they made this scene, it was very obvious she didn't know how to play the guitar because if you look at her left hand there, it never touches any of the frets.
That's funny. I never noticed that.
And you can't really see her strumming the guitar either, because I assume it's because they don't want it to match the melody, which is whoever's playing the actual guitar did a pretty decent job. So, and they said outright in one of the videos I saw that she did not know how to play the guitar. So, but it's very obvious if you watch it. Her hand is just there holding it. So.
I'll have to look for that next time because I totally missed that. But yeah, oh my gosh.
But her singing, without doubt, her singing is phenomenal. So that's I'm not going to criticize that at all. I'm just found it kind of funny that things like that pop up. So
Yeah.
Let's see.
And then this is the woman that is also rich, that he is like, I guess, that who wants to also marry him for the richness. They want to be rich together.
Right. Yeah, and it was kind of hard to understand because she was willing to give up the love because it turned out she knew that he was in love with Maria. So she was the Baroness there was just willing to just say, no, I'm not interested. I would rather see you be with someone you're in love with. Is that what basically happened? Because then she even encourages Maria to tell him that she loves him.
I think maybe because she's already rich. Maybe because she already had the money, that wasn't a concern, and maybe she was really in love with him. So if they like went through with their marriage or whatever, it would have been like kind of a hollow shell of a marriage, and she might have known that. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't think about that too much either. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. And in real life, the Maria actually did not love the captain, but he actually loved her. And what happened was he told her that he loved her, and she got married to him anyway, even though she didn't love him because she loved his children. That's what she said, which is
interesting. I never knew.
Yeah, and afterwards they had 3 children, like I said. So they had 3 additional children. And one of those 3 children I saw an interview with her. She was very old. I think she's already passed away. She said that her mother, Maria, in real life, did not like her 3 younger children more. She actually liked the older children that were not hers more than she liked her own children more. She actually treated them better. So
that's sad.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the women that actually died alone. She regretted the fact that she never got married, and she died alone. It was also a sad. You could tell she was very sad that she never got married. So,
wow.
So the clothing they're wearing is from the curtains.
Yes. Yeah. Maria is like a super cool baronet or a governess compared to the other ones. She made them all clothes. She taught them how to sing. She basically, in the eyes of the Baron, she taught them how to be hooligans. So
the other thing, I know I'm going to make a lot of comparisons with the real family versus the movie family, but in the real family, the singing was always encouraged, so it was never stifled by the father, obviously. So
right,
because they were very much of music, they were known. They did tours with their groups, so it wasn't. They were somewhat well known in Europe and in the United States. So, but
cool.
that was just a movie thing eventually. So. I will say that the clothing is almost gender neutral sometimes. Sometimes I'm looking at it looks like they're wearing the exact same outfits, but if you look, it's like the boys are wearing something more specific for like shorts, and then the girls are wearing dresses. But sometimes it almost comes across as being gender neutral in a lot of ways.
I think it's because the pattern is so like funky that it kind of just blends together in your eyes, and you don't really see the cutouts of the clothing, the shapes of the clothing.
It was also when we first meet them at the beginning. It's kind of like that too when they're wearing the sailors' outfits, like these right here.
Yeah, uniform.
Yeah,
They're supposed to all look the same.
Yeah, at a glance, it's like so. Yeah, and the other thing what you mentioned about the whistles, in real life, the dad also whistled just like that. He had a special whistle for each of the children.
I guess. I mean, I guess in that time, because I know now. people, you can just call your, like, on your phone, you can just call your parent if you have like a big house or something. But in that time, I guess you had to either yell or whistle or ring a bell or something.
Yeah, and the house in real life was 8 acres of land. So I guess this property that they're showing here is huge. It looks so. I guess the whistle would travel. They would have would travel a greater distance over wherever they're located within that property. So
Right.
the sound would travel a much greater distance. So actually, it's a higher price. Well, it should still work, but yeah. Um. Oh, here we go. The puppet show. How do you feel about the puppet show? This is pretty. I remember this as a kid, liking this as a kid a lot.
I did like it. I don't usually like puppets, but these are fun. I don't know why, but they're a little different.
And
They're
this
not irksome to look at.
Now, this is also, I don't know if you know that the movie is based on a play. Did you know that?
No.
So the movie was originally based on a play, and when they rewrote the, the movie, or rewrote it, excuse me, to be a movie, the scene with the puppets was actually another dance routine that they couldn't fit in correctly, so they decided to make it a puppet show instead. I forget what, I honestly don't remember what the original scene was. I can't say. So it was something to do with the animals, and they didn't have what they figured it was easier to, instead of having the animals in there like that, they just decided to make it puppets instead. So
I like this one better. I like the animals have makeup. That's fun.
yeah. Let's see, and when I was a kid, I said I saw this when I was a kid. I remember seeing this in the theater. I was not born when this movie came out. This is before my time, but I think it was like a special showing of some sort. You know how sometimes they show older movies in theaters, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in a theater, and I'm pretty sure I don't remember exactly what it was. I saw the actual play as well. I don't know if it was actually at a theater or if it was actually like a televised version of a play that we saw on TV. So, but I remember seeing something to do with a play on this as well. But it's so long ago, I just don't remember.
Cool. I didn't know they had a play version of this, but it does make sense. It's a very iconic movie.
Yeah, and the I do remember when on the play version. The only thing I remember that stands out is when they go off into the mountains at the end. It's just like a staircase that was hidden behind a mountain that looked like it was a staircase behind a set that was designed to look like a small mountain. They just climbed up the stairs and walked off the stage. That's all I remember.
That's good. That's funny.
So, now the I like this dancing right here. I thought this was done very well.
Yeah, I did like that too. I think that's probably one of my favorite scenes when I was a kid. That and the one where they were in the oh, what is it called? The one with Liesel and the oldest daughter and the
Oh,
telegram guy.
the guy she's in love with. Yeah.
Yeah, that first scene is the first dance scene is nice.
Is that the one where she goes 16 going on 17? Is that the
I
song?
think so. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, that was a pretty good one. That's the one in the gazebo we're talking about, right?
Yes, I never remember the word for gazebo for some reason.
Oh.
I don't know. I want to say the word terrace instead, but that's not even close to the right term. But yeah.
Okay. I will never forget the word gazebo because when I was a kid, my dad actually built a gazebo in my backyard. So it was a long project, and we got to see the whole thing being built. It took the course of several months for him to build it. So, and once we were done, we had this little gazebo we could sit in and eat our food if we wanted to back there. So because of that, I'll never forget the word gazebo. So
That's cool. My brain always gets like kind of close to it with like a home item, like a home structure. I think of like a gondola or a terrace or something like that, but I never remember gazebo.
So here's the this is where they're goodbye, farewell. A lot of these songs came back as I was watching this. So, but I didn't remember every part of the songs, but I do remember that a lot of them did come back to me as I was watching this. So
This one is very fun.
and this is the one that they sing at the end as well, right?
Yes. Yeah, and when they're like escaping or whatever.
Right.
Running away.
Yeah. And yeah, they're going up to say goodbye, and the audience sings goodbye. Oh yeah, and then the intermission. Yeah, I haven't seen. I remember seeing a movie when I was a kid. I think it might have been this one that actually had an intermission. I don't remember what the movie was, if it was this one or not, but it was like my parents had to explain to me what it was all about. So, there's a very interesting line right here. I don't know if I should play it or not. Hold on a second. Uh, uh, it's something I don't think you can get away with saying nowadays, especially if I can cue this up right.
Was it that comment? I vaguely remember he made a comment about the pinkness of the lemonade.
No, here, I'll play it. You'll see what I'm saying. This is something that a 60-year-old man should not say to a group of young girls.
Oh.
It's something that seems very inappropriate, but I guess it was okay back in 1965.
Where's father?
Oh, here we go. Tell me if you can hear this.
I think he's in the house. What's the matter with all you gloomy pussies?
I think that was maybe a term for some sort of a child, because I think it was also a term for a kitten.
Oh, well, actually, my interpretation was it was a puss is somebody's face. So like you could say a puss, and I think
yeah, okay. I thought it was just because it's also a term for a kitten.
Okay. I think it's a gloomy puss, and he just added the rest of it there. So I don't think you would hear that in a modern movie. So, but it was just kind of when I heard it, I was like, wait, did he just say what I thought he said? And I had to play it back a couple of times. So.
I think someone could get away with it if it was a comedy movie. Maybe.
Anyway, that just caught me off guard. I went on the internet and several other people said the same thing. They were like, whoa, what? So, but anyway, I just had to play that line. So, let's see. Anything here that would really stand out? I'm not remembering.
The children clearly don't really like the rich blonde lady.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, for the mother.
Yeah, it's more of like a cold feeling toward between them.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, so they go to see Maria and the Abbey. They don't get a chance to actually see her though, do they?
I don't think so. I don't remember what this conversation is.
I will say this: the head nun is very supportive, which I was for some reason I was expecting her to be like really nasty and mean, and she's the exact opposite of what I expected. So
yeah, she was very much like a good mother guidance kind of person.
Mm-hmm. She understood and didn't treat her with any disrespect for how she felt and everything, and she even said, if you love somebody, you should be with that person. Maybe that's, I forget what she said, but it's essentially something like that. So, and we got Gamer Libido saying hi, so hi back. Anything here that stood out? I don't remember. He's just talking about, I don't remember exactly.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, this is.
I do love the haze that they put on, the filter that they put on. I think that looks so glamorous. Or is it even a filter? Or is it just the quality of the camera?
Where for this scene or
the over her face? Where is it?
Oh,
there. Can you see? It's
yeah.
like fuzzy.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's very good. Yeah. The so you're saying you think that's intentional to like enhance her in some way, or
I don't know. I just think it makes her, to me, it makes her look more glamorous.
Okay. And there was a real baroness in real life too. I forget what her story was. So, but I do know that in the real life baroness, she also encouraged Maria to be with him in some way. So.
Oh.
So there is a lot of truth to some of this, but a lot of this is also made up. So, yeah, and this is where when they meet, they say how much they love each other. So,
and this is with the fake gazebo. There we go.
Yeah. Uh-huh. There she gets the marriage. Oh, by the way, the very first scene that was actually filmed was this scene. In case you're wondering, I found out. So.
Oh, I always forget that. I always forget that movies are not actually filmed in the sequence that they're shown.
Mm-hmm. So this is the very first scene. And if you go on YouTube, there's actually a scene where Julie Andrews goes to the same church with sometime within the past 10 years or so and actually walks up the aisle again just for fun. So
That's cute.
So we have
and I remember as a kid, basically all of this went over my head. I didn't really understand what was going on.
with the Nazis and everything.
Yeah, I totally had no idea. I was just there for the romance and the songs.
As far as I know, this movie takes place in the late 30s. I think someone threw out the year 1938. So I think that's when this is supposed to take place. So in real life, it took place over the course of 11 years. So it was before. So the whole love situation between the two of them actually took place back like this in the 20s. So it lasted into the 30s. So
interesting.
And this one is very short. Obviously, they say they go on their honeymoon for like a month, and then they're like doing everything. This only seems to take place over the course of maybe a few months at the most. So, and in real life, the real captain was he did not like the Nazis, and he also was very very angry about the invasion of Nazi into Austria, taking over and everything. So he was not into that. The big difference, and we give this away, that between the ending of this and the ending in real life, and the ending in this, if you really think about it, doesn't really make any sense. They escape by walking through the mountains. Anybody who's ever like been a survivalist or a hiker or anything will tell you that's not possible. They wouldn't have survived. There's no way they would have survived doing that.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that multiple times. I just thought maybe there were like houses around that could take them in or something.
Oh, gotcha. In real life, they just walked down to a train that was not too far from their house and left and went to Italy. It wasn't a big deal, and they stayed in Europe after that and toured for a while, and then eventually went to the United States. So
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So, and the other thing someone pointed out that the direction that they were going when they're walking is actually was actually toward Adolf Hitler, where he was actually located. So they're
so not even close to accurate.
But it does give you a nice visual, when they're walking along that mountaintop at the end. But let me jump ahead real quick just to get there. Yeah, this nice picture right here. It'd be nice if you could walk on a nice mountaintop and be nothing but green pastures all the way. But that's not what you're going to see when you're walking.
Right. It's just going to be snow and rocks.
So there we go. And we have the performance here, which is they didn't really sneak out that anyway. They did sneak out, but it wasn't like this thing where they were being chased down by the Nazis at the very end. They just left. So, but I guess for a movie, it makes it gives you more of a thrill. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? More of a, I don't know what I'm looking for that. How would you describe that?
Suspense.
Suspense. That's it. Yeah, that's a good word. So yeah, the family's singing here. Then as they leave, we get to the whole scene with the teenage girl's love interest, who's a Nazi soldier. There he is, and he disarms him pretty easily.
Yeah, I think it's probably because he's a teenager. So,
and then after that, he gives them away, and they start chasing him. And wait, how did they get away at that point? I forgot. They just ran and somehow got away.
I think so. That's how I remember.
Right. Yeah, they got in the car and they sped away. That's right.
Yeah. And then and then the nuns, they took the brakes or something, whatever that is, out of the old car of the Nazis.
Yeah, it looks like an ignition coil and probably a distributor cap in the plug wires. So yeah, and that was pretty funny. You'd think that their hands are probably a little bit dirtier looking though, with pulling all that off of the car. So
never nuns.
Then they show them escaping, and that's basically the end of the movie. So, and oh wait a minute, let's see. 1 second. We got a gamer saying again, Brazilians also follow your channel. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. So that's basically the end. As far as the movie itself, I think it's very good. I will say that I found the captain to be extremely annoying through most of the movie because of his cocky, arrogant kind of attitude towards people, not towards I didn't mind how he disciplined his kids so much, but just kind of like he was kind of better than other people kind of an attitude. Like when the guy comes on the bike with the message and he talks down to him like he wants him off his property. Was that because he didn't like him because he was that guy was going to be a Nazi, or is it just because he thought he was better than him? I couldn't figure that part out.
I thought it was because he was throwing rocks at his daughter's window, and he was like, "Stop throwing rocks at my daughter's window, you little weirdo."
Oh, is that okay? Maybe I missed that part then. Okay, I thought he was just being arrogant, so maybe I missed that. Okay, well that makes more sense then. So, okay, but maybe he's not as cocky as I thought he was then. So,
I was more like annoyed by the fact that he didn't want any like color or music in his children's lives. Like, how are they supposed to learn how to be creative? Boring.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And yeah, he was kind of an annoying character. He did. I assume that they did that so that he would grow and evolve and become more likable towards the end. I guess that's the best way. I guess that's why he's written that way. So
Yeah, I think so.
so he can evolve and become more, the more romantic, for the love interest kind of thing, and then the caring for his kids attitude as well. So
Right.
overall, how would you say the movie is?
I would give it a rating of, I'm going to have to go with a 9 out of 10, probably just because it's such a classic. And I feel like it's one of those things that I can watch anytime,
So does it make you feel good when you watch it? Does it make you feel better in some way?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those movies that at the end kind of just makes you happy, I guess. I mean, it does for me. So what would you rate it?
Well, I was going to say, the reason I'm asking before I give my rating, there were a lot of people that said they watched it just so they can feel better, like they're feeling down or something, so they can watch it. I wasn't sure if you were in that category or not.
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
So I would probably say like like just below an 8, like a 7.9 out of 10. So the music for me was very memorable. I remember from when I was a kid. I do, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it again right away. But it's a pretty good movie. So
All right, cool.
Also when I was a kid, we had my mother and my dad had the record album with the score or the soundtrack. I'm not sure. I think it was the soundtrack. Meaning the songs that they actually sung in the movie. I remember that being played a few times. And my mother, and I don't mean to sound so rude when I say this, but my mother she used to sing some of the songs. We had a piano and she would sing them periodically. And I hate to say this, but she's not really that great of a singer, unfortunately. So. But she would try to entertain us by singing those songs. So when I was a kid.
It's the thought that counts.
Yes. I'm trying to think what songs. I think she played, what's the intro song? When she comes over the hill here?
The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music.
Yeah. I think that's the one my mother used to sing a lot more than any of the others. So that one always stood out. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else in here as far as the music. No, can't think of anything else. So yeah, I would recommend the movie for sure. But it's one of those movies that I probably wouldn't go watch again anytime soon, but I would probably watch it again eventually, around down the line sometime.
Right. I would definitely recommend it as well.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we can go ahead and look at our questions from earlier, see what kind of responses we got. Let me bring them up here. Let's see. We'll go for the first one we asked. And here we go. What do you do if something of yours breaks? What if you do if something of yours breaks? We got 75% was try to fix it. I can't. If I can, I'll throw it out. And let's see, next down we got 13% with try to fix it. If I can't, I'll keep it. 6% with throw it away. I didn't actually read your responses before. This is the first time I actually read them. So I remember you reading them before. I just let you read them. So 4% with other, and then 3% with donate it. So
all right, that's cool.
Let's see, and the answers below. Let's see, CST official says I try to fix it. If I can't, I'll throw it out. I have no idea. I wouldn't know what to do. Maybe I'd try to fix it, or even if I had problems in order to solve it, KK. Oh. And not first, meaning I assume he's not the first one to leave a comment. So, alrighty. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Thank you for voting.
Okay. I'll go to our next one. Oops, that's not it. Oh, there it is right here. There we go. Okay, what's your favorite musical? 71% overwhelmingly with Sound of Music there. So 12% for the Blues Brothers, 6% with Your Choice, 8% with Annie, and 3% the Muppets in general.
Interesting.
I kind of figured Sound of Music would probably be top there. If we put some other musicals on there, they'd probably show up as well. So,
Yeah, isn't Grease a musical? Grease is a musical. That would have been probably one of the top ones too.
Yeah. Olivia Newton-John's in that one as well. So
That's true.
I didn't really care for the way she looked at the very end though, when she gets like that punked out look. I didn't really like that. The rest of it, I thought she was kind of cute. The rest of the movie. So that 50s look, I'm not really into the 50s look, but she pulled it off pretty well. So actually, technically, it was the early 60s. But how do you feel about this one?
The poll?
Yeah.
It makes sense. I feel like I don't know a lot of people who talk about or know about Blues Brothers. The only reason I know about it is because my dad showed it to me. I haven't seen it in a very long time, though. And then the Muppets, I don't know. I feel like that's you either love it or hate it. And I thought Annie would be a little higher, but.
Yeah, I actually saw both the play Annie and the movie Annie. They roughly around the same time. So I don't remember. I saw it in DC at the National Theater, which I think is still around. It was a big theater at the time, and then Annie came out like a few years after I saw it at the theater. So I was able to make a comparison. I would say that I don't remember which one was better, to be honest. I don't know. I don't think I was really. I think it was my mother was more of a fan of the movie and the play. That's probably why we saw both of them. So I do remember my grandmother saying to me that Annie's hair looks just like, she said, it looked just like my hair. It's like, oh, thank you very much. Annie, I had very much the same color hair when I was a kid. So, but alrighty. Anything else you'd like to add?
Not much. Just thanks for watching and thanks for voting.
Yeah, and also thanks for if you'd like to, well, not thank you, but if you'd like to help support us, you can always click on the link below for the for NordVPN. We really appreciate that. That really helps us, what we're doing here. So
yes, thank you.
Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.